Any accident that happens out here is because somebody's driving too fast for the conditions.
In the last 2 years, there's been 2 trucks that have not made that last corner.
You get paid to be safe, so take the time to get where you're going.
But if you get too far over on one side or the other, it just takes a split second to roll or worse.
Biggest hazard out here is me, you.
When you're grossing 80 to 120,000 pounds with a load of water, you can't shut down or move over very fast.
The gas has been down there for millions of years. Another 10 minutes isn't gonna matter.
My wife shouldn't have to pay for me being stupid.
Guy ended up in the hospital, broken leg, ribs were hurt.
You have to go slow, and you have to think about what you're carrying. Pay attention, keep your head in the game, take your time and be courteous with other drivers. And that seatbelt is gonna save you.
We can multitask so well that we just apply that right to our vehicle.
It's better to go home at night than to wind up going home in a bag. I grew up pulling horse trailers, pulling flatbed trailers, grew up pulling that behind pickups. Within the first 3 months of being here, I managed to flip a $100,000 piece of equipment on a trailer because I wasn't intelligent enough to realize that it was top heavy. Now, road conditions being what they were on that turn, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, it's up to me to make sure that I know my load, that I'm ready to do whatever it takes to make sure that that stays on the road and it doesn't wind up upside down. And so it doesn't matter how much experience you have. I'm convinced of it, especially with the top heavy loads or the extremely heavy loads we carry on these roads. You have to go slow, and you have to think about what you're carrying. You have to be smarter than the object you're pulling, and just slow down.
They had to use a 150-ton crane, set it up on the road. The guy ended up in the hospital, broken leg, ribs were hurt. It was a pretty bad wreck. Never want to see one of those again. It was one of those deals that you just don't want to see. Guy just got too close to the edge. Sucked him right in.
Yeah, we've seen some pretty morbid things out here, not that we want to talk about that. Any accident that happens out here is because somebody's driving too fast for the conditions.
Last year, summertime, dry roads, and over on 4th of July down there, road had a blowout in it, and must have been overnight, flying along down 4th of July and hit that blowout. He flipped the truck off into the sagebrush, and he was 25 feet from the road, upside down on the roof. They had to kick the windshield out of it to get out. How bad he got hurt, I don't know, but the truck was still laying there in the morning waiting for a loader to come out, flip it back over, and get a hook out there to tow it into town.
I'm a volunteer firefighter, and I stopped out here on Highway 30 on my way to work one morning to help out on a wreck. While I was helping the other people out, I had somebody spin out and rear end my personal vehicle. There's a lot of things that can happen out there, you know. It was one of those situations where they were driving too fast for conditions. So
What they had done is the 2 pickups met around that corner, both of them going just as fast as the rest. They both met each other, and both of them got pretty well messed up, you know, and it's just one of those things. You come on the corner around here, better be paying attention. It looks wide open around here. A lot of places that are not as wide open to see as you think.
Sweetwater County last year led the state of Wyoming in the number of fatalities that occurred within the county boundaries. We have head-on collisions. We have a lot of people go off the road, overturn. The number 1 fatal crash in the state of Wyoming is a single vehicle rollover. Just kind of insane to me. 40,000 people a year killed in vehicle accidents. This would eliminate probably 90% of the deaths in the state of Wyoming. It's just taking the extra 2 seconds to put your seatbelt on. Last year in the state of Wyoming, we had 1,917 vehicle crashes involving semi-trucks, which extremely high number when you think there's only 450,000, 500,000 people residing in the whole state. We do have a significant number of these that occur in the Jonah area and on the 2-lane highways, and also on some of the dirt two tracks going out to the well sites. We call them crashes because almost 95% of the vehicle collisions that occur involve some form of human error. Whether it's speeding, the impaired driving, the distracted driving, aggressive driving, there's always something that's causing the root factor of that crash, and it has to deal with a human being. Well, that's why we call them crashes and not accidents. It's senseless. When all it takes is just taking that extra second to think about what you're doing, leaving 15 minutes early, 30 minutes early to get somewhere, and obeying the speed limits, not driving aggressively. Just basically, when you're out here, have respect for each other. That's the main thing.
Biggest hazard out here is me, you. It's not the equipment. It's our frame of mind. I mean, if we've had a fight with our family or just something that's made us not think clearly, you need to leave that at the front door. When you walk out the front door of your house, you need to leave that there. You need to be focused on your job.
I think that's really the attitude you have to have is I'm going to go home tonight.
Yeah.
I got to make it to work and I got to make it home.
Yeah. Then it makes you wonder who's been up all night and all day and trying to drive home and they're half asleep.
If I can't make it here safely and make it home safely, you know, I might as well stay home with my family.
Yeah, you might as well work at McDonald's or something, huh?
You can't just be thinking about your rig, although that's the main problem. You got to be thinking about, okay, I've got a half-ton pickup coming up on me. What's he gonna do? Because if he were to cause you to get into a wreck, it's still gonna look like it's your fault.
Good attitude is going to prevent incidents for sure. It's real important to work as a team out here, even if you don't know the other guy, and to do things like yield to the traffic and show courtesy to others.
When you come out here, you have to have common courtesy.
Yes.
Respect for one another goes a long ways out here. If you don't, somebody's going down.
There's no place you need to get to that quick that's worth your life.
Or jeopardizing other people's lives. Slow down. The main thing, slow down.
That's what I always think when those people pass me going 90. Don't they care about anybody else?
Once you're out here, you just got to be on your toes. I mean, you can't stay up all night and party. You got to come here ready to go.
If you're a passenger in the vehicle and you feel like the guy is out of control, you need to say something. Either slow down or get the hell out and I'm going to drive. Get the hell out and I'm going to drive. It could cost you your life if somebody's reckless out here.
Mainly go is in getting the job done a little bit faster than the last guy that did it. Well, I'm better than him. I can do it a hell of a lot better, faster.
I can chain up and get there when nobody else can.
If I don't feel comfortable with the people that are around me and the way that they're driving, I'll pull over. I'll just wait it out. The gas has been down there for millions of years. Another 10 minutes isn't going to matter.
We get paid to be safe. You get paid to be safe. So take the time to get where you're going.
It's about the time you start acting like you know it all, it's going to bite you, or it'll get you involved with somebody else, and it could be serious injury or death. Just be patient, and if somebody's in a bigger hurry, just let them go around. I mean, I made it here to do a job, and I want to make it home to see my family.
I think that's really the attitude you have to have is I'm going to go home tonight.
Yeah.
I got to make it to work and I got to make it home.
I don't want to have to go to a loved one and say, hey, your husband or your wife's not coming home tonight because they drove way too fast and got in a wreck.
Some of the way that these people drive out here, if their wife was sitting next to them in that truck, would they be doing that?
They'd have claw marks on the door and stuff.
How many times would you gotten smacked, you know, passing somebody on a blind corner or whatnot? So act like they're sitting next to you. Act like your kids are in the back.
My biggest thing is family, man. My wife shouldn't have to pay for me being stupid. The love of your family should be motivation enough to not screw up out here, to take your time and be considerate of what you're doing.
I wear mine religiously every day. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, just driving on these roads, even at, 10 mile an hour. It doesn't matter. You don't know what somebody else is going to do. And that seatbelt, it's going to save you. It's going to save you if you wind up on your side. It's going to save you from going out a side window.
There's been people ejected out here because they're not wearing them. Truck rolled right back over the top of them. You know, it's gonna save your ass.
If you go out a window, out through the windshield, either which way. You know, if something does happen, you know, and you wind up going over, it's gonna keep you in the truck versus going out and winding up underneath it, which I have seen, and it's not pretty.
It's something to help protect you. That's why you wear gloves, why you have steel toe boots, why you have safety glasses. It's another thing to help you out.
Get that one blowout that you didn't see coming. It'll help keep you in the seat.
Keep you strapped in.
Keeps you in the seat. Keeps your head up and hitting the roof. Just got to have it on. It's saved my life before. Seen it save many lives. So just wear them.
I'm gonna put it on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that extra step to make sure I can go home. It's what gets you home and what gets you here.
My name's Ken O'Leary. I'm a construction supervisor for D&D Oilfield here in Wamsutter, Wyoming. I've worked here for 10 years. I have 2 sons. My oldest son is 21 now, and my youngest son would be 20 if he was alive today. A couple years ago, he was on his way to work. It was in October, in the morning, bright and early, just before daylight. And he was just driving an Explorer, and a deer jumped out in front of him, and he swerved to miss the deer, and he hit a guardrail. And he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and it launched him out the side of the window, and he flew about 200 feet, and he was dead on impact. The G-forces that pushed him out of that window and flew him 200 feet, he was dead before he hit the ground. Everything in his chest come loose before he ever hit the ground, just from the G-forces of being launched out of that window. Glass didn't kill him. The wreck didn't kill him. The G-forces of a sudden stop, and then the car stopped and he didn't. His body come loose inside itself. And if he'd had a seatbelt on, he'd have walked away. He'd have walked away. He was 19, graduated high school, had a good job, was very athletic. He had his whole life in front of him. And now all of a sudden he was gone. He'll never have a wife, never have kids of his own. He'll never get to live his life just for not wearing a seatbelt. The vehicle wasn't damaged that much. He would have walked away from that accident had he had a seatbelt on. He would have walked away. Maybe some bruises, maybe a few bangs, but he would have walked away. The belt is going to hold you in position. And vehicles have, you know, they have built into them a frame that will protect you if you stay in that box. I think there are still people out there that believe that a seatbelt does not protect you as much as I think there's a lot of people that think that they're more of a pain than they're worth. And they're willing to take the chance with their lives because they think they're a skilled driver. They think that they're going to avoid that accident. A lot of them have years and years of experience driving, so they think that it's not going to happen to them. They think they're above the odds, so they don't wear them. And a lot of them get away with it for years and years and years, so they think, well, it's never happened to me, I'm fine. And so they don't push it. They don't preach it, and they don't live it. And eventually it comes around, and the few people that it happens to, you don't know you're gambling. older guys, older people that have went their whole lives not wearing a seatbelt, they should be ashamed of themselves if they're not wearing them now, because all they're doing is sending a message to their children and their grandchildren that they don't have to. And they should stop immediately, and they should wear a seatbelt to show a good example to these younger kids. And I think if everybody did that, then I think that it wouldn't be a status of being tough not to wear one. It would be a status of being stupid not to wear one. The easiest thing I can tell you is if you do not want to wear a seatbelt, then go home, pick out your favorite things, and give them to your loved one so that they can put them up on the wall so they have something to look at to remember you by. Because if you don't wear one and you get in a wreck, it's going to kill you. And that's all your family will have left is the favorite things that they remember you by. And they put them up on the wall, and that's what they got to look at for the rest of their lives, because that's where I'm at. My son wears one all the time now, my other son. But he had to lose a brother, and he wears one no matter where he goes. But that's a hell of a way to have to learn. You shouldn't have to go through a death to convince people to wear one. There's been enough deaths throughout the years to prove that they will save a life. Just have to get people to accept that and wear them.
The other morning coming up here, it looked dry and it was slicker than heck, and I don't know how many trucks were in the ditch. 14 Mile Hill is where it starts, and then all the way up, your people passing you, you got to watch out for the fog.
Wintertime, you've got the on-ramps, off-ramps that are icy, you got people zipping in and out, trying to get on the highway to get to work.
That whiteout, there's no telling what's inside that whiteout.
Mud, the snow, dust, holes that open up from just a little bit of dust.
Moon dust.
Swallow your truck whole.
You can drive down the road in the morning, it's pretty smooth. By the end of that day, there's a pothole big enough to swallow a Volvo. Be on your toes the whole time you're out there driving.
There's a few bridges that we have that are single lane, you know. You gotta watch out for other vehicles coming on. And
that Sinclair gas station in Eden, there's been lots of rollovers, people getting T-boned coming out of that.
The entrance coming into the Jonah over here, of course, that gets really bad. Slick. Even this morning it was really slick. You got to watch for people behind you. They're coming up too fast. You got to watch traffic coming at you to make sure you can even make that turn.
A lot of times traveling in the field, you'll run across tools, different supplies that people have lost. There's been numerous times where I've come across pipes, 2x4s, stuff like that laying in the road.
You get two trucks, whether it be a pickup going down the road, one following the other one, the one in the back can't see. That truck in front spins out, hits something, stops. Usually I've got an oversized load. I've got a 400 barrel tank on the back of my truck. Those little orange flags get covered up with dust. I need to make myself visible to where I can be seen. And if I meet somebody that doesn't want to scoot over, it's going to cause problems. It's going to damage my equipment. It's going to damage the equipment I'm hauling. It's damaging their equipment. I don't want to go in the ditch, not when I'm 16 feet high in the air. That's something I don't want to do.
There's a few railroad crossings here in the field. Some of them have the arms that come down. Some of them don't. Some of them are just stop signs. You got to watch, be careful, and be aware.
The animals, of course, starting from mile marker 50 all the way up. There's elk, antelope, moose, deer running. So we got to watch for that across the roads.
We have a lot of wildlife out here, so you'll want to watch for antelope, deer, different wildlife that we have.
You have any doubt where that cow or antelope or whatever you see out here is going, you need to slow down. Even stop if she's just going to sit there and look at you.
They'll trail along right alongside you. Yeah. Trying to figure out where, okay, is there a hole in the fence here, or am I going to go across the road? They may cross the road in front of you once. Doesn't mean he's not coming back.
5 will go one way, and then you'll get the one that just has to be on this side of the road. If you're going too fast, that one that cuts back, that's going to be the one you meet personally.
The wind can affect everything you're doing out there. Driving, You know, if you have a high-profile vehicle, you're going to watch that wind. That wind can move you from one side to the other, just sliding across the ice. So.
During the wintertime, with all the wind, we get that snow that's drifted. It drifts over the, on the edges of the road, so it's hard to define where the road is actually at. There's a lot of times where people slide off in the bar ditch, not even realizing they think they're still on the road, and then next thing you know, they're getting sucked off in the ditch because they get too close to the edge.
Winter or summer, it's going to be just as bad. You got 7 trucks bringing water. You got our pickups, the Roustabout's pickups on location. You got equipment moving around.
We have no shoulders whatsoever on the roads out here. You go from road right to the bar ditch. In a lot of cases, gulches and valleys that are right next to the road. So the edge of the road is the edge of the road.
But if you get too far over on one side or the other, I mean, it just takes a split second to, pull the back of your truck off the road. Then you're at risk of overcorrecting and sending the vehicle into a roll or worse.
That edge might look hard, but it's generally soft, and that's what'll flip the big trucks.
Biggest thing you need to watch out for is other people. They think they own the road. Well, when you're grossing 80 to 120,000 pounds with a load of water, you can't shut down or move over very fast. Best thing to do is just stop in the middle of the road, and they can either go around or hit the bar ditch.
In the summertime, you got the tourists, and we all know about how the tourists drive. They check their head at the gate when they get in their car with their families.
This might be their vacation or their breakaway, but this is where we work, and our equipment has to get from point A to point B for us to continue to heat America's houses.
Biggest hazard out here is me, you. It's not the equipment. It's our frame of mind.
Big Hill is the main, when you come into Wamsutter as you're going out into the field, it's the main hill to your right, and for some reason they decided to make it hairpin turns, blind turns, and as steep as they possibly could when they decided to grade that out. And so not only is it impossible to see anybody coming the other way, if you're coming downhill, especially at the very top of it, you don't have a chance of seeing what's going on below you until you hit that second turn, and then all of a sudden it opens up and you could have a semi right in front of you, and you're not going to do anything to avoid them, and it's really steep, so if you decide to go off, you better be ready to not have a fun day. And going up it just next to impossible during the winter.
And when we were blading this winter, you couldn't make it up even with chains on a blade going up the hill. We'd plow it coming back down because it's just too risky. You start going up that even with a blade and you start sliding, once you spin out, that's it, you're done.
Go around. Yeah. You don't have to go up it. You don't have to go down it. Go around.
Yep.
Doesn't take any of that much more time just to go down 7 more miles down the road and take Barrel Springs. All the roads tie into one another somewhere.
We had a guy this winter tore a truck up because he was trying to get up there loaded, had to hook a blade to him. They wound up with 2 blades hooked to him, and the guy wound up tearing the clutch out, transmission was tore up. It's just not worth it.
Go down it a couple times, that way you know how steep it actually is, and that first corner is the one that will decide whether or not you're going to make it. If you take that first corner wrong, you will get stuck even in the summertime on dry ground. And in the last 2 years, there's been 2 trucks that have not made that last corner coming down. They've lost it. And they've both been loaded both times with water. And it totaled both trucks up and trailers. Go around. Yeah. You don't have to go up it. You don't have to go down it. Go around. Go around. Go around.
Communication is so important. What we do in our company is every time we leave or get to a location, we report. So at any given time, we do know where all the crews are.
If there is a lot of activity going on, moving rigs, you know. We try to communicate with each other over the radio and whatnot, you know, this is where you're gonna get stopped. There's other ways around, just go around.
We have these little cards that we report near misses, incidents, hazards, things like that on. It's a real good form of communication to use that. So if we see something in the field, like a hole in the road or whatever, we can identify that hazard on one of those cards, and then they can share that information in their various tailgate safety meetings or monthly and weekly safety meetings. So
communicate, ask somebody, well, have you been to this location? What's it like? What's the road like? How long did it take you to get there? What direction did you go? Don't be afraid to ask. If you're new, don't be afraid to ask. Just take your time, follow what other people say, take other people's advice. Make sure you get home at night.
One form of communication we try to use is, you might have seen these orange flags on the posts that are on all the vehicles out here. And that helps to identify a vehicle, say on a hill or something, that it's coming before you actually approach the vehicle.
If you're going to be 20 minutes late, call us, let us know where you are. So that way if something does happen, we know where to go looking for you.
We need to know, get the phone call, hey, I'm running late, something's going on here, you know, make sure you call me, you're doing it safely, it's not while you're driving. You're doing it safely, it's not while you're driving, it's not while you're driving. Call, let us know you're going to be late, and we can handle it. I mean, I'd rather have you get here safe than have something happen to you. I'd rather have you get here safe than have something happen to you.
Now the intersection at Love's, you really got to be careful because all the contractors going underneath the bridge versus all the traffic coming off the interstate, on the interstate. Hell, you got to be careful.
The stop signs are optional.
Well, and it's not wide enough for the traffic that they've got going through there.
No.
You know, when you get two semis of a regular size going through there, and they're 6 inches apart from each other, and trying not to hit the sidewalks.
You're watching ramps, you're watching both truck stops, the traffic coming down the county road, traffic coming off of that side road from the, next to Love's there, plus what's coming underneath the bridge that sometimes you don't see.
Yeah.
Or you get that one pickup that decides to fly off that ramp from the eastbound side and come underneath that bridge, 90 mile an hour.
Yeah, they don't stop the stop sign. They just come down, turn, and keep going. Everybody's in a hurry to get to work, get to Love's, get to Conoco, get to wherever they're going. Take a few extra minutes and just slow down and wait. I mean, I've had people pass me on that on-ramp or off-ramp just to get to where they're going. And I'll get there 2 minutes behind them. Slow down.
Not only are you watching all the other traffic that's out there, you've got to watch equipment, and you're watching for the road itself. I mean, the road itself can be a distraction. You're looking through dust, or if you're playing in the mud, you're fighting that all day long.
And you get guys coming towards you that are on their cell phones, that are reading their map, that are doing everything except what they should be doing.
Or you see people going down the road and texting, it scares the heck out of you. You wonder if they're going to drift in your lane or just hit you head on or what.
Reading the map, talking to the company man, looking down.
If it's that big of a deal for you to try and get there, take a few minutes to stop, look at the map, and make your phone call and say, I'm going to be a little late. I can see where I need to go, but I can't find the road to get there. Pull over. Pull over to look at that map.
As our society goes along, the entertainment, we're so gigged into entertainment and computers and movies and TV, and we can multitask so well that we just apply that right to our vehicle. We should take all that stuff and say, wait a second, I got a Halliburton truck going 55, I got some guy on my tail, I can't even see his headlights, he's so close, 3 lanes of passing going on. So yeah, I think really we do need to take a step back.
There's a big difference between pavement and dirt. Big difference. I mean, we're doing 25, 30 miles an hour on the dirt. 10 is too fast sometimes.
Instead of just going into the ditch and taking it through the ditch and trying to keep it upright, I pulled back into the berm, and you definitely don't want to do that, because all it's going to do is throw your weight the way of the incline of that ditch.
When you commit to the ditch, you commit. There's no, when you try and pull out is when it's wrong.
When you go in and you can feel it, or you see it in your mirror that you're starting to lose it, keep going out in the field. Don't try and get back on the road. Just go out to that ditch, go out through the ditch and into the field. You're going to get that back slope. It's going to kick you back, hopefully level you off.
Ride it out.
You got to use common
Don't get
sense.
scared. When you feel it lean, don't try and pull back on, because that's what's going to flop you.
It'd be cheaper to get a blade out there or another winch truck out there and pull you back out of the sagebrush than it is to try and flip you back over and pick up all the pieces.
Go with the roll, as they say. Once you get in that ditch, just if it
Hang
leans
on.
that way, you got to turn that way. 'Cause
Yeah.
like you said, if you turn the opposite way, there you go.
Don't think that you're 10 feet tall and bulletproof and that it's not going to happen to you, because you just don't know. And it's a hell of a thing to put your family through, your friends through. Go pick some stuff out. Give it to your loved one. Say, here, put this up on the wall because I'm going to gamble with my life today.